Here's how I took this super cheap computer from Facebook Marketplace, refurbished it, and turned it into an absolute gaming beast on a really tight budget. I'm talking less than $400. I'm going to show you the full build guide from start to finish, everything I've done, and exactly how you can replicate it. The computer was listed on Facebook Marketplace for £300, but I managed to get him down to $260. It had good specs for the price: an Intel i5 9400F, 16GB of RAM, and an RTX 2070. I started off by tearing down the old computer. The first thing that I did was took out the graphics card, as I needed to harvest it along with all the other parts for the new computer. Once I had the graphics card out, I noticed there was literally only 2 screws holding in the motherboard, which is not ideal, but at least it was easy to get the motherboard out. The first thing I needed to do was remove the Intel cooler, as I was going to be replacing this with a better CPU cooler. The next step was to give the CPU a good clean. I used these Noctua cleaning wipes, as they wipe off the old thermal paste super easily. I installed the Thermalright Assassin 120 SE, as this is the best looking budget CPU cooler on the market. It was a bit of a pain in the ass to install, but we got there in the end. I removed the old power supply, which ended up being a Be Quiet 650 watt, which is actually a really nice expensive power supply, so we're super lucky that we had this in this build. I harvested the 1TB Seagate Barracuda hard drive and the 240GB SSD. I got this very nice Ion Z Pro Gamer case that came with 3 fans. It was an unbelievably good deal at just £40. Then this is the moment that I realized that I can't fit the motherboard and have intake fans at the same time. You get what you pay for, I guess. Then my camera died, but I didn't notice, so I installed the motherboard into the case. Now came the boring part, where I had to do all the cable management and make sure all the wires were tucked away and the PC was looking nice and clean. The final step was to install the 2070, which is a good card for this price. I hooked up the PC to my setup, and I think this shit came out goddamn beautiful. This PC honestly just looks so good for so cheap. I installed Windows 10, and then the next thing I needed to do was just test the graphics card, as I was concerned that having no intake fans would affect the thermals badly. So I ran 3D Mark Time Spy just to test. We came out with a result over 8,000, which is slightly above the average score for this card. The GPU temperature ended maxing out at just under 70 degrees, and the CPU temperature maxed out at just over 60. Now that I knew the PC was running perfectly and there was no issues with the temperatures, I decided to test out Fortnite. I ran it on pro settings, which is maximum view distance, and then everything else on low, texture set to high, and I had TSR enabled on low. Fortnite is not really a hard game to run. It ran about how I expected. We averaged around 144 FPS, dipping slightly below during fights, but overall it was completely smooth. I wanted to test out something that was a little bit harder to run, so I loaded up Cyberpunk, and I started off with the benchmark on 1080p high preset, where we managed to get 76 FPS. This is with ray tracing disabled. To squeeze out a little bit more performance, I turned down the settings to medium and then ran the benchmark again, and we were easily reaching over 100 FPS. I played the game for about half an hour, and honestly it looks great even on medium without any ray tracing. It was perfectly smooth with no stuttering. Now comes the part that everybody wants to know, which is the total build price. The original computer off Facebook Marketplace was $260.
The case was $40.
The CPU cooler was $15. The RGB controller for the fans was $7. I included the price to travel to get the computer, which was a £5, and the total bill price came out to £327, which is insanely cheap given how well this PC runs, and I'm even editing this video right now on this computer. I want to continue to do PC builds for this channel, so I've listed this computer for sale. The link is in the description. I've listed it at only a price of £400, so I just make a tiny bit of profit, and that way all the money will go straight back into building another computer for the next video. If you want to see more of these kind of budget builds, like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.